I'm focused on his spirit cause it keeps me from his fire. The Holy Ghost is with me, so my fear I leave behind. My sins were all diminished when he took that breath and died. And if you think I'ma give up on my God, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie.
Hello, hello. This is Christy DeBar. You're watching Black Teen News. Hello, hello. Welcome to Black Teen News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about some of this Tesla vandalism and someone who got in trouble. They got caught. These cars have cameras. You guys got to think about it a little more deeper, man. Yeah, so someone got hit with a big fine because they damaged something on the car and it cost a couple $1,000s, so it's a felony. So people online on the left are so mad, like, how dare they charge a felony? Like, you got consequences of your own actions. Hello, you're meeting them. You're meeting them. Also want to talk a bit about Trump's tariffs. And also John Boyega from Star Wars Variety did an article quoting him saying that he thought Star Wars was so white. So I just wanted to I know he had some issues, particularly China. I guess had an issue, and he was removed from a poster, and Disney caved to that. So Disney is responsible for that. So and he faced some toxic like backlash from the fans or whatever. So or I'd rather say passionate backlash from fans or whatever. I wasn't a fan of his character. Like I was in the first film, and then they didn't take him where I thought they could have gone. But I know I've just read some of the articles, so we'll read it together, and some other things as well. But before we jump into it, I want to say I hope you guys had a good weekend. I always like to check in on you guys, make sure you guys had a good weekend. I did quite a bit of writing, research and stuff for my writing. I went to a baby shower on Saturday, and my younger sister Sabrina won like 2 games. I ended up winning 1 game, but I won, like, you couldn't say the word baby, and so they gave everyone a pink clothespin. So I really just, I don't know, took maybe 2 on my own and had 3, and then at the end of the day, like, people said like baby on purpose to give me 1 so I could get close to winning it. So but my sister Sabrina won a game where you had to like guess how big the belly was, and I was so close. I was probably the second closest, and she just edged me out. It was like practically perfect when she guessed it. And then we had to guess how much like a list of items were, and I was like $20 off, and she was like, I don't know, just a few dollars off, if that. Like and they're like, how did you guess that? And she's like, I used to work at Target, and I used to work at Target too, but I just like stock the stuff mostly. But yeah, and she shops in there more than I do, and she's bought more baby things, and she was looking at prices the other night and stuff too. So I was close. But I did want a gift card. I did get a gift card. So um yeah, so it was really crazy weather last night, and that was about my weekend. So I hope you guys had a nice weekend, and you guys didn't do anything crazy, and everyone's in good health or improvement upon it, and so on. I encourage you guys go to blacktunes.com to get different content on the website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website because it does also stream and run the site, all the good stuff. You guys can also check out different merch that's available on the website as well. And I mentioned that I've been writing this weekend, and I encourage you guys to check out some of my books. There's a link in the description. It'll take you to an Amazon page. If you guys have checked out some of my stuff, I encourage you guys to go ahead and leave a nice review on Amazon, and you can leave one on Goodreads too. I don't ever go to Goodreads myself anymore, and but I do check the Amazon ones. But yeah, go ahead and leave me a nice review. Anyway, let's hop to it. So this Tesla story is pretty funny. Folks are angry, and we can try to the narrative around it. Like there's this guy Adam Gaffney. He's said felony charges for sticking gum on a car, felony charges, a life potentially ruined. One thing should be clear: they will throw the book at people for actions, crimes, protests with the improper political inflection. So that's their narrative. There's many comments that are like that. Where people on the left are just like, oh, felony charges. Whoa, that's okay. Biden administration, they're pro-life protesters that were arrested, charged, found guilty. Some not found guilty, and their cases were just ridiculous in the first place. What about the people who, I don't know, left skid marks on rainbow flags or Black Lives Matter, street decor? Like, where were you guys at with that? Where are you guys at with that? But this is someone's personal property that someone vandalized. And these are expensive cars. They're expensive to maintenance. It's not like, you can just go to Bell Tire and get everything situated. These things are expensive to fix. Maybe in the future when, I don't know, if a lot more people get them, the cost of fixing an electric car, specifically a Tesla, will go down. But it's very expensive. I had a cousin who had a Tesla for a little bit, and it was pricey to fix stuff. It was I had like a Dodge before, and the tires that I had or something with the car, and it was like all-wheel drive and stuff. It was just a hassle with the tires, and it was just always kind of hard to find them and stuff. And it was I hate to replace them. It was just expensive. That's just how it is. So the moral of the story here should be: you shouldn't mess with people's cars just because you don't like the politics of the person who sells them. That's really the answer. You can not support them. You can choose not to support them and not buy the product. It's really that simple. If those people can afford them anyway, but just don't buy the product. That you can vocally speak out about the person or whatever. Like, if you don't like Ben and Jerry's and their politics, you don't have to buy their ice cream. I feel like it's kind of pricey right now anyway, but it is good ice cream. Oh my gosh. Their cinnamon bun ice cream is really good. Now some people are like, I don't care, that ice cream is really good. I'm gonna go get my Cherry Garcia, or I can't remember other names, but the cinnamon bun is really good. But actually they got rid of their CEO recently because of some of their political backlash or whatever. But and how political it is. But I mean, everybody knows Ben and Jerry's is really, really left wing. But you don't have to support what you don't want to support if you have a difference of opinion. My thing is, you might want to withhold your money. There's a difference between you having a difference of opinion and someone like actively trying to thwart you. Like I've had beef with Disney for a while. I'm open to reconciling, but I've had beef for a while. Um, when there was a parental rights and education bill, they're like, well, we're gonna uh, raise money and donate to try to get this overturned. I'm like, oh, so you warring with the parents now, huh? You warring with the parents? So that wasn't a good look on Disney. You had people like Chris Evans in his Buzz Lightyear movie who was mad at the backlash when they decided to have like a gay kiss or couple or whatever in the film. And he's like, I can't wait till they die out like dinosaurs. Like, oh, you can't wait till I die, Chris? Mr. Captain America? Okay. Or Rachel Zegler, when I had showed a video, I think of it early last week, and she had said, go vote blue back in like November or whatever, I guess. And our reproductive rights are on the line, and this isn't negotiable. And if you don't, like it, like unfollow me. And all that's fine. But then she was like, I don't need your business. Like, oh, you don't need my business if I don't want to kill babies. Okay, I guess you don't need my business. So she was fine with like, okay, you support abortion, I don't support abortion. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna go watch that Hunger Games movie that I haven't watched yet, or something that you might be in the future. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna see you, but then you tell me you don't want my business because you don't like my politics. Like something where it's understandable that people have different opinions about it. Like, okay, but if that's how you feel, and we can have difference of opinions and still support each other. But when you get to the point where you are hostile, that's an issue. That's an issue. Elon Musk does not deserve all of this hate that he's getting. But when you have people like Jimmy Kimmel going around, saying he did Nazi salutes or whatever, and other people saying that, and acting like maybe he is on the I think most people just think he maybe did it as a kind of troll. Haven't seen a lot of people make a serious case that he's like actually like pro, Nazi or whatever. But there were people, I think people were pushing that more prior to that with all the lack of censorship on X. So maybe like a few years ago, people were really coming at him, and they were trying to disrupt his advertisers and stuff, and as if there's something nefarious about him being or trying to be a free speech absolutist. And like, oh, he's letting all this anti-Semitism just run wild on the app. And there is a lot of like, I don't know if it's in your algorithm, but there is a lot of anti-Semitism on the app, unfortunately. But they've done some stuff, to try to counteract that a bit. Like they took away some people's verification or whatever. But yeah, he hasn't. The thing that he's doing the most, I mean, granted, they don't like that he helped Trump win. Excuse me, but a lot of people obviously helped him win and went out and voted for him. Half the country supported him for various reasons. I'm sure him and Elon don't agree on everything, but wanting to see how the government is spending the money, since he pays a lot in taxes, wanting to make sure that they are good stewards of our confiscated cash. I don't think that's so evil that people have to go out and attack the cars that he makes, especially after people have purchased those cars and it is now other people's private property. I don't think he's done anything to warrant the madness that's going on, but a lot of people are unfortunately brain sick. And it's not Jimmy Kimmel's fault that these people are going out there and doing this stuff, but apparently, folks in that sphere are just brain sick. By the way, my sister, my youngest sister, she wrote to someone on TikTok that you need to go out and touch grass, get rid and try to get rid of the TDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome. And she got another community guidelines violation for that. This is the same sister who got like 3 guideline violations for saying that only women can get pregnant. And like three different ways. And all those, she got flagged for all those. She appealed them, and then it got struck down. Her appeal was rejected. And so she appealed the TDS comment, and that was also rejected. So Charlie Kirk was like, TikTok has changed. Like, TikTok, it has changed for you. It hasn't changed in general. Yep, she got another guideline violation. I don't know, and I don't think she's in the chat. I don't know if she has a warning on her account yet, or she's, can't post or whatever, but yeah, I just probably wouldn't comment for a while and stuff, which is a shame. TikTok, it like rewards you for commenting and reacting with stuff when you post. Allegedly, I don't. Allegedly, that's how it's supposed to work. So they want you to comment and interact, but they're so finicky. Like, and touch grass just means like go outside in the real world, like get offline. That's what it means. It doesn't mean like go smoke something or whatever, which I kind of originally thought that's what it meant. But it's wild. It's wild. But people do have Trump derangement syndrome. That's not a new phrase. People have been saying that for a while since Trump, was in office for the first term, that they just have brain rot. So anyway, let's actually look at this story with this woman who got charged the felony. And by the way, she did the crime, so she can pay the fine for sure. And it's a grown woman too. It's not like people shouldn't know better. Is it really not like people should know better? Okay, Florida woman slapped with felony charge for vandalizing Tesla with large wad of chewing gum. A Florida woman was charged with a felony after allegedly smacking a large wad of chewing gum onto a Tesla, causing nearly $3,000 worth of damage, according to the Sunshine State authorities. Now, I don't know if her intention, was to directly impact something on the handle and destroy it that way, but the intention was to vandalize and be gross. Like, I just hate when there's like a wad of like chewing gum on stuff. It's so gross. I don't even like gum. Like, Yamaris Marino was initially charged with felony criminal mischief for the sticky antics, which were captured on the car's built-in camera on March 22nd in the J.C. Penney's parking lot at an Aventura mall in Miami-Dade County, a Local 10 News reported. And Florida is not playing. You got Daddy DeSantis there. They're not playing about crime and all that kind of stuff, man. And what's crazy too, which this article will know, is that these cars have cameras. Maybe people don't know what they're vandalizing, but maybe you should learn a little bit about it before you do crazy stuff. The act of vandalism reportedly caused a bubble-sized $2,623.66 and damage to the mechanism of the electric car door's handle. So, you did the crime. You did the crime. The owner of the vehicle told Local News 10 that he felt he was being gummished due to, unfortunately, a divide in our country where certain views are not accepted by a subset, referencing Tesla founder Elon Musk's controversial role in the Trump administration. Cops cuffed Marino, 45, at the Hollandale Beach after a mall security guard spotted her in a food court on Thursday, according to a police report obtained by the outlet. She reportedly admitted to the choosy crime. This article is so corny. The act of vandalism reportedly caused... Marino was reportedly stuck in police custody on a $2,500 bond as of Friday. Like, and the libs are crying. Like, oh my gosh, But you can't just go and destroy people's property or mess with vandalizing. She obviously destroyed, but she messed it up. She messed it up. Like, do you think you should not be punished for sticking your gross saliva infested gum on someone's car, or these people who are scratching it or kicking or whatever? And there are cameras. I saw this guy on TikTok. He said, "Oh, they got into a fight with a Tesla owner. They just went ballistic or whatever." And so someone actually like summed up the video and replied to it. So I had watched the reply, and they're like, "What really happened was what is this person instigated a fight because they saw a Tesla car because they don't like the owner's politics. And so they parked as close as possible to the car and then didn't even wait. They ran and hid so they could see like their reaction or whatever, and then watch the person explode." And for just being annoyed or whatever. And then people in the comments were like, "Don't they know these cars can just literally back out on their own?" Like, I'm like, that's Elon should make a commercial about that, like someone like purposely doing that or whatever. And then it's just like they beep it and the car just backs out by itself, and then be like, "Don't let the haters stop you," or something. Something, something like that, but clever. And there you go. Sell some more cars. It's annoying when people do that accidentally, but people are out there trying to do it on purpose. And these are grown people that what they said she was 45, like in her 40s. Just deranged. Just deranged. 45 years old. But again, to the people who are upset that she's got in trouble for that, again, just recall how much the Biden administration was actually weaponizing the Justice Department. Think about, this is one of my favorite examples, when the White House coordinated with the National Library Association, I think it was, to make a letter to send to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. Aren't you guys so glad Merrick Garland never became a Supreme Court justice? That Mitch McConnell, you may hate him, but you should thank him. Never that he blocked Garland from getting in that seat. I'm so grateful. It could have been so terrible, especially seeing how weaponized and one-sided the DOJ was, how political he was. I think a lot of people were probably surprised how political Garland was, but that was just the nature of the administration. So they sent him a letter requesting that they use the Patriot Act to come after these parents who are coming to these school board meetings. And one of the examples that was listed in the letter to explain why they need the Patriot Act used on these parents was this man from Loudoun County who blew up and was upset because his daughter was attacked in the bathroom and sexually assaulted by a boy in a skirt. And the administration, the superintendent, happened to lie and be like, "Oh, we haven't heard any kind of incident," or whatever. So they had arrested that father after he kind of blew up, and they did stories on him. They had pictures of him because his shirt was up and his belly was all out, trying to, I don't know, make the dad look really bad when he was there, concerned about his daughter. And the government used that again. People of the White House coordinated with the National School Board Association to make the letter. And it wasn't everybody on the board, because there were people on the board who were upset about it after like all this stuff really blew up. So it wasn't the whole board, but it was enough of them. They got the letter together and they sent it to Merrick Garland. And then Merrick Garland, they had issued out some kind of report. And then they did questioning to Merrick Garland, like, "Well, why did you start looking and doing all this stuff?" Like, "Well, because we got the letter." It's like the letter that y'all coordinated to make happen. So that's one of my favorite stories to just talk about how nutty things were under the Biden administration. I mean, it was really bad. So these people upset about the person getting arrested over the Tesla stuff. It needs to happen. It needs to happen swiftly so people will stop. Like if people are like, "Oh my gosh, there are cameras on these cars," which I mean, people will also start wearing masks or whatever. But you know, if you're in Florida, they probably will find you. They probably gonna find you. Abel said, I saw one of those ugly Tesla garbage can looking trucks with a big sticker inside the window that expressed hatred for Trump and Musk, a Democrat trying not to get their car vandalized. Yeah, and what's so crazy about this Elon stuff is that he voted for Joe Biden in 2024. I think there was enough evidence that like one of the smartest men on the planet should have been like, I'm not gonna vote for this guy. Because he was trying to think what network the interview was with. I think it was the same interview. They were talking about free speech, and he's just like, I don't care. And he started quoting like the because they were asking questions about X and the advertisers and other things, and Tesla started quoting Princess Bride, and his attitude was like when is it Anil and Toya when he was fighting the 6-fingered man, and he's like, I'll give you this, he's like, promise me this, promise me that, promise you that, and he started promising things. He's like, give me my father back, and he couldn't do that or whatever, and then I guess he killed him. And Elon's just thing was, you can't bribe me or bully me into doing something I don't want to do. But I believe it was that same interview where he like admitted that he voted for Joe Biden. So things shifted, you know, and he was open to supporting in the primaries when they first kind of started. He had DeSantis on for that X interview, and it seemed like he was impressed by how he was governing and was willing to back him. But of course, you know, DeSantis fizzled out immediately after Iowa, and Elon had to back someone else. And he didn't like a lot of the social climate of the country. He has a child who was, you know, overtaken by the gender ideology stuff, which he did play a role in accepting that at the time, but now, you know, regrets that and says he lost his son to the woke mind virus. He is concerned about censorship and other things like that, economic policies and so on. So anyway, he worked very hard to get Trump elected. He was concerned about illegal immigration. He said he thanked people when he did the throw the heart out thing. He thanked everybody for saving human civilization. Like that's how important and crucial he thought this election was. So the Democrats just did a really bad job keeping their voters satisfied and happy for the last 4 years. And if Joe Biden was a good president, or if Joe Biden had really kept his word and decided that he was going to be, you know, transitory and someone else was going to be the setup, like maybe they would have had a better shot because they would have had like a full, I don't know, 2 years to really, you know, help the next person along, which, you know, maybe still wouldn't have worked out too well for them because it likely would have been Kamala Harris because she was the vice president. How dare they like skip over somebody? But they all could have had like a serious meeting and been like, it can't be her. and made her agree to that, and, you know, or understand, you know, because she was like a very unpopular vice president. Everybody tried to pretend like that wasn't the case when she became the nominee, but it was just the truth. So maybe they could have convinced Whitmer or somebody else. I don't like Gretchen Whitmer, but you know, she's unfortunately one of the best people on their roster, which isn't good. But that's just the case, So or I guess it could have been you know, Gavin Newsom or whatever, but I think it's likely that that you really couldn't skip over Kamala. And maybe you still would have got, Trump winning in 2024. But it's very difficult to beat, I mean to lose as an incumbent. And you got to have some really messed up stuff going on to not win. With Trump, there are people who will say that he did win and the election was stolen, but let's for now go with COVID happened and we had a global pandemic that these people decided to crush our economy and do all kinds of crazy things and would not let this man win a day of his life, in order to stop him. The death counters on TV, the just play by play, and you would notice that they didn't have the same kind of vigor for those numbers after Trump was no longer the president. It's not like people stopped dying. you know the crazy stories like the DNC. There was someone who they played a video and there was a girl talking about her father trusted Trump and he went like bowling or something and then he died of COVID. And my heart goes out to her, but I'm like, Trump didn't tell your dad who's in the age bracket, like he was plus 50. I don't think he was a small guy, and went bowling in the midst of a pandemic. You think that was Donald Trump's fault? And who knows if he got that when he went bowling? How do you know somebody didn't bring it home or whatever? How do you know he got that at the bowling alley? Or wherever he went with his friends to hang out. But I'm like, that's not on Trump. But that was part of their propaganda, that they're pushing. Like every death was on him, which they didn't bring that same kind of energy when Biden was president. People were still dying. The economy was great. You had Bill Maher saying he hopes the economy crashes because he didn't want Trump to win re-election. And COVID happened and people locked down and kept locking down. And, they didn't want people to have any kind of hope. They kept kids in school when Trump wanted to open up schools and stuff. They ran ads against him. And now you have Randy Whitegarden with the teachers union saying, no, I wanted schools open up at this time, which I think she said by April of like 2020, which is just a blatant lie. We played that clip, I think, last week or the week before, just floored. She could just lie about that. They literally ran ads with Trump, like he wants kids to go back to school. So anyway, they were willing to break the country using the pandemic, and he didn't do everything perfect. I think he could, and this is his fault, whatever. But he was being told a lot of things, and so he was trusting the experts, and he was also concerned about media backlash. So there was like political stuff, and maybe he would have moved in some more commonsensical directions, if not for how the media was reacting and pumping fear and propaganda to different folks. So because some of these governors like DeSantis and Governor Georgia governor, can't think of his name, Kemp, he Trump was busting their chops about opening too fast and stuff. So he didn't handle the pandemic perfectly. And unfortunately, we never really had a reckoning about the cause of the pandemic, not the cause, but which he was right about the cause, but they didn't want to listen to him at the time. The actions that took place that were bad governance during the election, because we opted to choose two people who had a hand in that. So, there's a lot of people who want some sort of justice or rectification for all that stuff. And unfortunately, it seems like it's not going to happen ever. But they used COVID to take out Trump. Biden, a lot of it, I guess, was himself and him aging out or whatever, and his own stubbornness, because he could have not ran again, but he decided to do it anyway. But the Democrats didn't have a good 4 years. They didn't. They didn't. And they misprioritized things. People, it was hard for them to make it financially. And they're putting everything, all their chips in the trans basket. It's anyway. A little warning. I know we talked about this last week, but Trump is very heavy on the tariff train, and there was something he imposed or said that he was going to do with Russia that was in response to how they're responding or not responding to the ceasefire stuff with Ukraine and Russia, because Russia seems like they just want to keep advancing because they believe that they have momentum, and putting tariffs on them on their oil, and then putting tariffs on people who take the oil. I can understand using them in a retaliatory sort of way, and I think people are willing to would be more willing to shoulder that kind of burden. But there's other ways. I don't think people are going to be so forgiving about the tariffs. When I heard that news, I was like, oh, maybe that's why gas jumped 30 cents. But the cars thing we talked about, how he wants to put tariffs on all cars that aren't made in the US, and maybe that'll bring more jobs back to the US because they won't want to have those tariffs. But in the meantime, in the short term, we're going to have to pay a higher price. And then if they do bring back all those jobs in the US and they're good paying jobs, they'll be good paying jobs for the workers who decides to work in those industries, but it still will probably make the prices of the cars go up because they'll cost more to make. And so if you're not in that industry and you're just a consumer of the product, you are going to be paying more for a car. So there are trade-offs to the things that he's talking about. And I am expressing concern that in the short term, when we see some of these prices go up, maybe in the long term, it'll be better. Perhaps in the short term, I don't want this to screw up things financially where folks just start voting straight party Democrat ticket in the midterms. There's some, I don't know what all Trump's agenda is going to be in the first term. I think they're going to have to move quicker and get some more stuff sort of shoved through. I'm concerned that I don't know. I have to look at the Senate map or whatever, but I just I know he's going to have to probably replace Clarence Thomas, and maybe I don't know if he'll have to replace Clarence Thomas and Alito, but they're up there, and I don't want another Ginsburg situation where they think they're going to make it all the way through, and they're just holding on to a hope and a prayer and some string or something, and then they, she passed away. I guess she thought she was going to be appointed by Hillary, replaced by someone Hillary Clinton appointed, and then Donald Trump won, and then he got to replace Ginsburg. And man, the left was mad about that. They might have been more mad about that than they were about Garland. So there was like some CBS polling that showed that people were concerned about that stuff, and that they're good on like him deporting folks, but the economy response isn't as strong as we would like it to be. So it's just my continued concern that I want to voice. I think using them strategically is okay. But a lot of this blanket stuff I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about. Somebody Trump had quoted Churchill and Reagan today, and then someone about the like being against socialism and things like that, and people replied back and was like, both these guys hated tariffs, right? So, by the way, JD Vance had got into a back and forth with someone that I follow on Twitter. And I would like to read you guys. I would have read you guys a tweet thread because I thought it was an interesting back and forth. But the guy that I follow ended up deleting it because unfortunately there was a lot of like really nasty and comments that some I guess he was concerned about himself and other people who in his family due to the attention that he got. So he ended up just deleting the thread. Um, so some people were like, "Oh, he's a coward. He's a coward," and some people saw it as there's some like extreme MAGA folks are like, he couldn't hang, so he deleted it. And then there were some left wingers like, oh, he deleted it so he can just pretend like he's on the total Trump train or whatever. And he deleted it because he was just kind of concerned with all the intention that it was getting. So but basically he just voiced some concerns about tariffs, and JD Vance replied, and it just when the vice president of the United States quote tweets you, it tends to just kind of explode. Anyway, I want to talk about this Star Wars article that Variety had with John Boyega. John also was the star of the second Pacific Rim movie, which was okay. It wasn't as good as the first one. I feel like the best thing about Pacific Rim movies is that we know that they can make a gun to wing movie, but the first one was okay. The second one was okay. The first one was, again, it was better, and he's just, not an Idris Elba kind of person, not yet. So I don't know if I've seen this dude like in anything, but he seemed like he kind of got ousted from Hollywood a bit because he was wagging his tongue too much. But Disney did do him wrong on some stuff for sure. So see what this article got to say. John Boyega called out Star Wars for being so white during an interview as part of the new Apple TV Plus original documentary #1 on the call sheet, Black Leading Men in Hollywood, via Entertainment Weekly. Oh, I might I don't know. I don't have Apple Plus, but sounds like an interesting thing to do commentary about. Boyega debuted as Finn in Star Wars The Force Awakens and reprised the character in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. His role in the sequel trilogy led to online harassment from racist and toxic Star Wars fans upset with the black actor playing a lead hero in the space franchise. I don't know if it was that or it's like, is this a clone trooper? Like, what's going on? I don't know about that. Let me tell you, Star Wars always had a vibe of being the most whitest elite space. It's a franchise that's so white that a black person existing in it was something, Boyega said in the documentary. You can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and Samuel L. Jackson. It's like telling me how many cookie chips are in the cookie dough. It's like they just scattered that in there, bro. So okay. In Hollywood, or just the United States or somewhere, UK, when you have minorities, they tend to be in the minority. Shocker. I don't know. I don't know if that's a complicated concept to grasp. A white dude writing about different space adventures and stuff and casting different people, and there's a lot of white folks in it. There's a lot of aliens and people with different colors, red people, black people, blue people, green people, all kinds of folks. But to be like, oh, there's just a few really, really, really cool. It's not even just the fact that they were black. Like, Billy D was obviously cool. Obviously cool. And James Earl Jones also did the voice of Darth Vader. You just didn't see him, and when they actually like took off the helmet, there was a white guy in there, but his voice is part of the reason why Vader is so iconic. So it seems like if you're talking about black men in the franchise, to not name Darth Vader seems, I don't know, a little insane to me. But if you're the minority, don't be surprised when you're not populating everywhere. Like you don't see a vast, space of stuff. If we're talking about cookie dough, you know, and you're just counting out the amount of chocolate chips in there. Okay, well, if you want a bag of chocolate chips, you can go buy a bag of chocolate chips. You and play in that field. You go to Africa, black people are not the minority, man. If they got some films and different things that they want to do and produce or whatever, or if you're gonna go work on The Woman King or a film that's like black centric, that's like all black folks pretty much, but when it's a production that is, you know, taking place in Hollywood about the vastness of the universe or whatever, there's more Ewoks than black people too, but you were on their planet. They were on their planet. It, yeah, there wasn't like even if you had a bunch more black characters in the franchise that you could list, there were other black dudes that didn't have great like big roles or whatever, but they existed. It just seems like there's so many great characters, and that's what yeah, some of the coolest people. This is the only black people will complain about black people not being in space movie, then joke and say that going to space is something black people don't do. Yeah, I don't know about going to space. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, and then Mace Windu was, Samuel Jackson got to say like, I want a purple lightsaber, give me a purple lightsaber. Like, they're not purple. And it's like, I want one, and you got it. So see what else he says. They're okay with us playing the best friend, but once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit too much. They're pandering, the actor added, while also acknowledging that being cast in the franchise was a fundamental moment in his career. No, people will watch movies with black lead actors. We will. And we will watch movies where they're heroes. I mean, how many people like Denzel, for example? If we have films that are historically white characters and then you change the race of the character to be able to say, oh, diversity, folks don't like that. There's some people like that sloppy seconds. If just go make cool new black characters. They made cool black characters in Star Wars, and he's like, oh, but you notice them because there's so few of them. Like it seems like you can't win a little bit here. Seems like you can't win. And then there's so she got the sloppy seconds on one hand, and then there's folks upset that they have this person in mind and how they've been historically, and then you've just changed them. One of the best, by the way, explanations to like why people get upset about the casting of their different characters. I think someone did a video, and they were talking about the TV show The Last of Us because they don't like the girl who was cast as the female video game character, but to explain why they didn't like it, because they just didn't think that she looked like her or whatever. They showed a picture of Sonic from the movie, and then the ugly Sonic that he was going to originally look like. And they're like, and he said, if they had made the movie with the ugly Sonic, it would have been the same movie with the same performances, but we wouldn't have liked it. Like if nothing had changed about the plot lines and the characters or whatever, we still wouldn't have liked the movie because of how Sonic looked. And I was like, that's a really good way to explain people being upset about their characters not being represented accurately. There's just some kind of visceral reaction to it. Some things we can forgive or whatever. Like people can forgive the Targaryens not having like purple eyes or whatever, but they're still upset about it, but they can forgive it or whatever. But some things, you know, like no, it needs to be this kind of certain way. So when it came to his character specifically, when I saw the trailers, he's, you know, I'm like, who's this dude in the clone trooper outfit? Like, what's going on? And you know, he wasn't. I guess I didn't really think the best eye candy in Star Wars is probably Hayden Christensen. And I just wasn't feeling it for the new franchise, I guess. Or I guess really the original, but I guess the best looking one there will probably be Harrison Ford, maybe younger. But probably top dog is Hayden. I would think. So I just, you know, I'm just sometimes, you know, I know that's a vain thing to bring up. I don't usually like to bring it up. I'm just trying to be honest about some of my thoughts when I like first started seeing the trailers or whatever. And because then he like really liked the girl or whatever, but he was funny, and there were things that he did that reminded me of someone that I know that I really love. And I started to get invested in him. Like this girl clearly, you know, like can he get her out of the friend zone? And so I didn't have an immediate attachment to him. And then I started to like him, I guess, and root for him to maybe get this girl. And then they had her in the Kylo Ren thing and then tried to pawn him off with Rose. And nobody liked Rose. So then I was like, where are you going with the story? Where are you going with the story? Like, he's a lead, but he's on side character adventures. And that's not our fault as fans. That's you got to take that up with the writers. Like you got to take this up with the writers. they like blocked him or whatever. That's not us. I didn't like what they did with the story. I was fine with they made me like him fine in the first film. I didn't think I would care for him too much. I did like him. And then they just did crazy stuff. Mention Wesley Snipes. Oh, wrong comment. Here, you know, he did the Blade franchise. He was leading, he was kicking butt. We were seeing those films, you know, watching them all the time on repeat. My mom used to watch Blade 2 when she folded laundry. Boyega first aired his grievances to GQ magazine in 2020 about a Disney fumbling diversity in Star Wars trilogy. He said at the time, "What I would say to Disney is do not bring out a black character and market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good. I'll say it straight up." Now he's right about that. That's just what I complained about. Like they marketed him, they made him like he's one of the main ones, and he's off doing like stupid side the casino plant. I hated that film so much. And yeah, and then China, which I don't know if they're going to get to that in this article, they like took him off the poster. I guess they're like, the Chinese are racist, let's take him off the poster. And Disney capitulated and did that. So he was did dirty. He was, but I just don't, if there's any like sort of I don't know, pushing for the fans here like they're the issue. I don't think that's fair. There's definitely racist and bad toxic fans. I'm not going to stand up for every fan. And there's, can be some annoying people in every franchise, but I think the issue is that Disney just dropped the ball with them. Which they dropped the ball with everybody. Remember Captain Phasma or whatever, the lady in like the Darth Vader kind of clone trooper ish mix or whatever, and her outfit is like different, like it was kind of like blackish, grayish or something. And the girl from Brianna, the beautiful Brienne, is it Brienne the beautiful? Brienne from Game of Thrones, she played her, and her role was just ridiculous, and she wasn't well utilized. They dropped the ball a lot. But they were like literally just juggling plot lines. Like they didn't even know they were juggling with Rey's backstory and her parentage, like literally to the last film. I don't understand how you get awarded all this money, you spend billions on like a franchise, and then you're just allowed to screw it up. I don't understand how they keep doing that. People say it's like money laundering. I don't know exactly how that works, but something isn't adding up. You guys knew about what to do with Daisy Ridley. That's not true. They did not know. You knew what to do with Adam Driver. I doubt that's true too, but I gotta continue. But when it came to Kelly Marie Tran and when it came to John Boyega, bleep all. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. Nah. I'll take the deal when it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest. Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows. I'm not exposing anything. Boyega later revealed to THR. I don't know what he did in last. I never saw the last one, the final one. Boyega later revealed to THR that I haven't seen a Disney. No, I did see the story about Han Solo. That's probably the last Star Wars thing that I saw, and I saw it on Netflix or something. But I basically quit Star Wars after The Last Jedi. I hated it so much. Boyega later revealed to THR that a Disney executive reached out to him following his GQ interview. He said he had a very honest and very transparent conversation with a Disney executive and added, there was a lot of explaining on their end in terms of the way they saw things. They gave me a chance also to explain what my experience was like. I'd hope that me being so open with my career at the stage would help the next man, the guy that wants to be the assistant DOP, the guy that wants to be the producer. I hope that the conversation is not such a taboo or elephant in the room now because someone just came and said it. Number one on the call sheet, Black Leading Men in Hollywood is now available to stream on Apple Plus TV. I think my brother has Apple Plus. I might watch that. I want the tea. I want the tea. And then I'll tell you guys the tea. Also Diego Luna is another minority that is so well liked and well written in movies. They gave him his own series. There's I think one of the reasons why you don't really see him a lot is because the squeaky wheel doesn't always get the grease. The squeaky wheel sometimes just gets replaced, thrown out. And I don't follow him too closely, but I haven't seen him in like really up and about in a lot of things. And so I think his anger and outrage with Disney, which is you don't get any bigger than Disney when it comes to entertainment, and you don't get really any bigger than Star Wars with franchises. And it probably like I'm sure there's a lot of people kind of sympathetic to the things that he's saying and are concerned and maybe want to do some things as far as like more representation and so on. But I'm sure a lot of people didn't appreciate his hate brigade with a lot of this stuff. So I think that's probably why he's not been in many a thing. He's a pretty good actor, I think. I mean, again, I liked his character fine in the first film. I respect for him. Like, I mean, I agree that they dropped the ball with this character, but he's not alone in that. He's not alone in that. They messed up a lot of stuff with that franchise. Anyway, that's all I got to say. As of today, I'm seeing if any of you got some more interesting comments about this. Nope. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me today. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. For like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation to blacktnews.com/donate because it does cost a stream, run my site, all the good stuff. So you guys can support, I appreciate it. Thank you to those of you who watch live, to those of you who watch back later. You guys can check out my different merch that's available on the store. That's another way to help support. You guys can also look at my different books that are available on Amazon and paperback and ebook, and also have them on Kindle Unlimited. All of my fiction books on Kindle Unlimited. My nonfiction books, you'll have to actually get them on paperback or ebook. Like, of course, God is blatantly against abortion. But other than that, you guys, plenty to read. And I promise if you guys do have Kindle Unlimited, as long as you flip through them pages, I will get paid. Thank you guys. And I will see you tomorrow.